College Football Update. It's with your host, Sean Spencer and Alex Loosemore.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you know, but today is the day we've been waiting for. The CFP finally, the 12-team tournament finally begins today with Indiana and Notre Dame. And we're going to talk about the other three matchups tomorrow. But we definitely have to shout out the guys that are here with me. Now, you know, if I'm talking college football, there's only one man. There's only one man that I will always be talking to, living up north, loving the pride of the Detroit Lions. My guy, Mr. Alex Loosemore. What up, Alex?
Not too much, man. Excited that it's finally here. This matchup tonight is honestly my favorite game of this first round matchup, or of these first round matchups. I think the weather, the matchup, everything fits perfectly. The other three games tomorrow should be a lot of fun as well. And then it just keeps building and building. And I'm going to enjoy this last month of us still being the national champions because it's going to be gone like that.
Hey, this time a year ago, it was all Michigan. Now, yeah. Hey, what a difference a year makes. But listen, at least you guys are in the conversation. We haven't been in the conversation for a while, but it's all right. We got the GOAT.
Hey, Chapel Bill.
Let's go. And with that being said, you see my guy down there, the leprechaun, the fighting Irish guy himself, personal friend of mine, E.K. Holiday. What up, Eric?
Oh, Sean Spencer. So good to be here. So good that there's no home game in that stadium sitting behind Alex Loosemore. Actually, there's no game. But it's great to be here. I'm excited. I don't think it gets any better than for a little bit. But I don't think it gets any better than the first home playoff game, getting to be in one of the most historic venues out there. So really, really, really pumped about the college football playoff as a whole.
And look, to that point, and I'm going to come right back to you. I mean, like we alluded to, we're here. But, I mean, did you ever think, Eric, that we were going to get to this place? I mean, you remember from where we started where it was just, who is it, the top two teams that the AP and all them say is that didn't settle it. So then we went to the BCS. That didn't settle it. Now we're here, 12 teams, and I've already heard conversations about 16. Is this going to finally settle it, or is this going to keep expanding? Are we going to have a March Madness soon?
I don't know. You might have a couple guys on here later. The couple people from the South who seem to think that the 11 and 12s need to go to 6-loss Vanderbilt teams. The SEC is better than everybody. So honestly, but in a real answer, I'm very surprised with how much debate there was over the final seeds because it seemed like a non-issue to me, and I'd be interested what you guys think about that. But I couldn't believe there was so much chatter on the final teams getting in when it was expanded to 12. I thought that was all going to be quiet.
Oh yeah, and hey, Alex, I mean, there's chatter all over the place, not just in our group chat where the voice messages go back and forth
endlessly.
And certain people claim that Indiana isn't that good until they figure out that their old coach and half their players are on Indiana. But we're going to leave Will alone. Shout out to our buddy. But to Eric's point, I mean, we thought, all right, after it was the 4-game playoff, and then, obviously last year it was the Georgias and the FSU, and how did they leave us out, blah, blah, blah. But this year, now you have Ole Miss, South Carolina, Alabama, and Miami. All these teams get left out for one reason or another. And it's, to Eric's point, it's like we thought this would settle it. Now it's not settling it. But at the same time, it made us pay attention and be locked in to the very last second before the bracket was set, man. So is this good? Is this bad? Is this going to change? What do you thought?
Oh, I think it's phenomenal for college football as a whole because You look at the last few years, when you got later in the season, what games were you really paying attention to as far as like playoff implications? Michigan, Ohio State, whoever Alabama was playing, whoever Georgia was playing, and there wasn't really much else. Now you had big time games with massive playoff implications in every conference.
Yeah.
Even group of 5 conferences, it mattered. So I think that as a whole is amazing for the game. You've got more teams that are playing in meaningful games, meaning that their players are playing in these meaningful games. You're not seeing practice rosters show up in these bowl games because people are bailing out, which I think is the reason you'll see more and more expansion of the playoff as the years go on. And then to Eric's point there about the last couple seeds in the playoff, they got it right. It should have been as cut and dry as you're not penalized for losing a conference championship game. You make it there, you're fine. More to SMU's point, you handled your business essentially all year. Come up short in that game, I don't think you should have been knocked out. And if those other teams would have handled their business that fell behind them, then it wouldn't matter. If Alabama wouldn't have lost to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma, it wouldn't have mattered. They would have been in. If Ole Miss didn't lose to Kentucky and them, they would have been in. South Carolina, I think you got the raw end of the deal with LSU and that. But at the end of the day, you didn't handle your business. You don't get in. Miami, same thing. It took Cam Ward being Superman 3/4 of the year for you to have a winning record. Lose 2 games at the end of the year. Bye. You're gone. So I think overall they got it right. The reason there was so much chatter is because we've seen year after year after year, whether it's been the best conference or not, there's the SEC bias. Like it or not, it's there. They've earned the right for it to be there. As far as I'm concerned, they've handled business across the country. But it was like, is SMU going to get screwed for Alabama or Ole Miss? Is this going to happen? And it didn't. They did the right thing. These teams earn the right to play these games.
Right. And I think that leads to us now having a microscope on some of these teams, on the Arizona State, on Clemson getting in, on the SMUs, the Indianas. How good are these teams really? And if they lay a clunker, especially tonight, if Indiana lays a clunker, then all of a sudden these people are going to start saying, hey, they didn't deserve to be in here in the first place and X, Y, and Z. Look, everybody earned the right to be here. Everybody earned that situation. And as far as Miami is concerned, don't miss me with all that nonsense. Y'all literally had the opportunity to win the game, a la, things that happened potentially a year ago, and you did not win the game. Period. You let a Syracuse team beat you for that chance to get in. That's just what happens. But I think it's funny because for those people that are talking and, oh, man, this and that, and my team got left out, Mike Leach, he had some choice words for the committee and all the people that are picking these. I'm going to leave it to the late great. Tell us how he felt about it.
Nobody does it that way. If we're so smart, wouldn't all the other sports say, I know what? Let's have a committee, because why not? Because, we're American. We love committees. Let's get us a committee. Well, who should be on the committee? Well, I don't know. This guy's a good guy. Let's have him on the committee. Well, there's people on the committee that don't even have remote associations with football, nor have they at any level other than being a fan. But you know what? Let's have them on a committee. Why not? And then, it'd be fun. We'd go to that resort. We could talk. We could hang out at dinner. And then we'll decide which 4 teams should go. Because you know why? We don't need to solve this on the field. Because we're the ones that know. Nobody does it that way.
Look, I love it. Rest in peace, Mike. And look, that to that point, they make these committees. I like this year how things were left on the field. Play the game, win the game. You're hot when it's late. You got it. Shout out to them. And this right here, let me bring it up, is what we have. We have the 7-10, which is tonight's matchup, Notre Dame hosting Indiana. We have the 6-11, which is Penn State hosting SMU. We have the 8-9, is Ohio State hosting Tennessee, and the 5-12, which is Texas hosting Clemson. And listen, I got we got people coming on, so I'm gonna hold my man's game, my man EK's game to the end, and I'm gonna go to the Big Ten first. Number 9 seed Tennessee, number 8 seed Ohio State playing tomorrow. Alex, you guys were the last team to beat and potentially expose Ohio State, but with the exception of that game and then the 1-point loss to Oregon, they've been blemishless. They no blemishes. They've been perfect. They've played great. And then except your game, every other game, they looked spectacular on offense. Can they get over that hangover of losing to you guys, coming into this game?
Can they? Yes. They have to get out of their own head.
Mhm.
The whole thing with us is, for some reason, they need to prove that they're tough enough against us. When you have advantages pretty much everywhere else but the trench play, you decide to take it to the trenches. That still blows my mind to this day. I think if Ryan Day decides to let Ohio State play Ohio State football, they could go win it all. They're that good. I feel so bad for Tennessee because I've been saying all along I wouldn't want to be the next team to play them after our game with them. I don't think this one's close. I think Ohio State torches them. They use all the passing game that they should have used against us. And the only way Tennessee's really got a shot is they can play physical and run the ball. Mm-hmm. They've got to do it and do it very well, but Ohio State's defense is that good too. I don't think Tennessee stands a chance.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting, honestly, because what we know is that if Tennessee falls behind, they tend to struggle. And with some of the injuries that they've had, some games you look at them and you're like, oh snap, God, this is a contender. Nico's got these guys running. And in other games, it's like, ooh, you are struggling with Arkansas. You are struggling with some of these poor teams. So I'm going to come to you, Eric. Tennessee can be electric. We've seen them be great. And to Alex's point, Dylan Sampson has balled out this year on the ground. But realistically, coming into this game where Ohio State not only has eyes potentially on Oregon, but is saying, hey, that team that lost to Michigan, that's not us. We're ticked off. What can Tennessee do going? I mean, looks like they're going up against a buzzsaw. Can they pull this one out?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I don't see it. I might be a little blind to it. I don't think this Tennessee team is quite the Tennessee team of last year or even the year before. Heupel, I think, is doing quite an amazing job, but I'd hate to hammer home a point, but I think what Alex said, and I know we've agreed, in our fun chats, is that if Ohio State accepts who they are or they figure out who they are, then they are likely the best team in the field, and meaning the field of the college football playoff group. And I believe that over Oregon, over Georgia, all that. The problem is I don't know who Will Howard is. I do not know if Ryan Day feels like Lou Holtz is still, mocking him for being not enough. So he's got to work on his beard dye and, yoke up on some people when he's got electric receivers, amazing running backs who can get to the edges. But most importantly, the thing that Ohio State has, they have one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. And the talent that he has is he's never had it before. So I don't know that I see it being a runaway. I don't think I trust Ohio State kind of offense just because I don't think they're going to be. But I do think that the game is controlled. I think we can mold that defense pretty good.
Okay, I can dig it. Check your audio real quick. Okay, I can hear you now. All right, yeah. So no, and to that point, I mean honestly, and I love what you said about Ryan Day. He's get that beard looking right. And look, we've
Yeah.
talked about this, Alex. We've talked about it. You have first front row seat to Ryan Day and everything, and Harbaugh's been through it. Penn State, James Franklin, they've been through it where the coach is questioned because he can't beat certain teams. If Ohio State somehow loses this game and doesn't do what we expect him to do, should there be real consideration that Ryan they need to move on, or is just getting here is okay?
No, for them getting here is not okay. They expect so much more, and as they should. They're year in and year out one of the top programs in the country. Everyone's made jokes about it, but that $20 million roster is legit. Like Eric said, if they figure out who the hell they are, there's not a roster that can match them. The coaching staff has to get out of their own way too, though. Chip Kelly, Ryan Day, they've got to work to their strengths. Figure out this whole big game thing where he seems to struggle with it. I think it'd be hard for Ohio State to sit there with Ryan Day continually struggling when you see a guy like Mike Vrabel being available, for example, or you've got Brian Hartline sitting there who's been an amazing recruiter. To me, those are two options where if you're Ohio State and you see Ryan Day struggle time after time after time, is it time to maybe kick the tires on one of those two?
Or even Knowles. Knowles. I mean, I'm with you. Vrabel would be number one and Hartline is there. But, yeah.
I think if you can get either of the other two guys and get Knowles to stay, I think that's your dream scenario.
Oh, my goodness. If you had Vrabel and Knowles, my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Give Hartline that OC job back. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm nervous now.
Yep.
Now, Ohio State people, don't come for us, but I really don't care if you do come for us because you got to win, period. And you know as well as we do, if you don't win at a program like Ohio State, they can move on from you in a heartbeat because we've seen the caliber of coaches that have come through there. And since Urban Meyer, you guys haven't gotten over that hump?
See, I thought you were going to say if you don't win, you get laws changed. I thought that's what you were going to say.
Yo, listen, at the end of the day, I don't want them to win. I would rather Tennessee, and I'm eager to see what that hole we know at McLaughlin's being out for Ohio State at center, what that kind of the issues in that front line going up against a very, in my opinion, kind of underrated D line of Tennessee with Pierce as being a top tier prospect. I honestly think that might rear its ugly head. And to your point, Eric, Will Howard, I liked him before he came here. But now I'm kind of sitting here looking at Syracuse and Kyle McCord like, you could have done better than this. You know what I mean? They maybe shouldn't have moved on from you. So for me, Will Howard's going to have to be the X factor. And he has the complement of wide receivers. He has a two-headed monster in the backfield. So, and he has the defense that could, take care of him and give him more opportunities. But you got to get it done. You got to get it done.
Yep.
Smokey's gonna just leg on him. Whoa, here we go. Calling it out right now. Look, we are gonna move on. That's the 9 versus 8. And Georgia people, I put the thing, I put it in the chat, so definitely hop on in. Hey, I'm coming to you, Eric. Number 11 seed SMU is hosted by number 6 seed Penn State in the James Franklin I need to win game. If we're talking about Ryan Day, I think we definitely need to be talking about some James Franklin
100%
and what this game means to him. What are your thoughts on James and hosting a playoff game is big, but you got to win.
Man, this is going to hurt to say, and Alex is going to get. This is going to be like an IU JMU kind of thing. So I want to say Penn State is not going to win this game. I do not think Penn State is a top 10 football team in the country. With that said, I think they are built better for within the trenches. I think SMU has some great talent on the outside. I don't know how that's going to hold up in Happy Valley when it's freaking cold out It's you just
They're
saw
doing a whiteout too.
Yeah, you saw Clemson impose their will in the second half of that game. I don't think Clemson is as physical as Penn State is this year. And at the end of the day, they're just going to throw it to their tight end 47 times. And they're okay with doing that. I think SMU is really talented, but I have a hard time seeing them win in the trenches. And I think in that weather, that's going to be a big, big difference.
Yeah, and I mean to that point, Alex, like we've talked about this. We talked about it before this season even started. Once you start getting into these games in December, in potentially January, in the north, where it gets cold, where it gets snowy, where the weather becomes a serious factor in this game, and then you got a team from Texas where don't get that cold down there all the time, coming up north to play a game like this. Like Eric said, Penn State is built for this type of game. And I think the bigger question is, who is SMU really? I mean, are they ACC good, or is this the caliber of a team that could shock the world and start with Penn State?
I don't think it is. I think you look at the 2 times they've played teams with really good defenses, that being BYU and Clemson, they couldn't handle it both times. Penn State's got a top 5 defense, I think, in the country. They've got guys at every level that are going to be NFL starters within the next 3 to 5 years. And I think if you're Andy Kotelnicki, the Penn State offense coordinator, all you need is these 4 words: Katron Allen, Nicholas Singleton.
There you go.
There's where Eric said they're going to pass 47 times. I think it's Tyler Warren. These guys should each get 25, 30 carries. That should be, if you're going to run 100 plays on offense, that should be your 100 plays right there. I think Penn State's got to punch them in the mouth. You get them in that environment, you're physical with them early, in that whiteout, cold weather, you hit them in the mouth early, it's over. I think right off the bat. Kind of sounds like I'm being a Big Ten homer here. I don't mean to be. I just don't like these 2 matchups for the other teams in these situations.
Oh yeah. I look. I am one. Obviously, we've all seen a 30 for 30. We've all seen Pony XS and the whole story of the Craig James and Eric Dickerson and the death penalty. So I'm somebody that, like, I watched when June Jones took over and kind of brought them back, and I watched the metamorphosis from a school that didn't have a program to now getting back to where they are. I love that they are in this particular situation.
Mm-hmm.
I just fear that it's not setting up for them. And we talk about the environment. We talk about kind of James Franklin and Penn State, and they're kind of due and they're hungry and they have something to prove themselves. But I mean, listen, the story alone, Eric, is amazing. SMU getting here, nobody had that on their bingo card at the beginning of the season. To have the season that they had and to get there, Jennings has over 3,000 yards in the air. I mean, they have a solid D line. Maybe I'm an ACC homer. Is there a way we shock the world? Can the Mustangs bring the ACC back to prominence?
Yes, they can. Because Penn State sucks. But
he's not wrong.
Hey, I won't go too far down the line on this. I'm just going to get it out there real quick. This is the battle of the one team that got the death penalty versus the only other team that should have gotten the death penalty. I won't go too far down it, but
I don't hate that.
Yeah.
Somebody knows.
Yeah. Hey, this is going to be an interesting one. Yeah, for all intents and purposes, I think we're kind of all in line that Penn State should get this one done. But hey, SMU's been shocking people all year long. Let's see if they can continue that up, continue that going.
If Drew Aller's got to be the guy, they're in trouble. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what you said, to keep Drew Aller clean and to keep him upright, you got it. Those running backs, you got to consistently feed them. You got, this needs to be 1986 Penn State, with their coach and all that, where it's run the ball, really good defense, and don't say anything, just show up and play the game And if they do that, I think they do come away with a win in this one. All right, let's keep moving down the list because we're going to stay in my conference, the ACC, and our power Clemson against the number 5 seed Texas. Again, QB duel, Cade Klubnik versus Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning. One of those two, unless Arch is already visiting Chapel Hill. Come on over, Arch. Come on over. Listen, this one to me is intriguing because everybody talks about Dabo. Dabo, not getting in the transfer portal. Obviously, we know how they started in that first game against Georgia, where they got blown out in the second half. Cade Klubnik has moments where he looks great, and then he has moments where it's like, really, you're not doing that great. But to Alex's point, in the ACC championship, you look good. They looked real good, and honestly, yes, the game was close towards the end, but it didn't look like much of a competition early on. Eric, I'm going to come to you. Texas is a team that I really can't gauge right now. I've seen them dominate. I've seen them do well, but then I've seen them play in certain games like in Georgia, and you're kind of sitting here like, is this the real Texas? Like, is this the high-powered team? Now, albeit that's Georgia. We know how good they are, but still, Texas, to me, I keep trying to figure it out. Who's going to be their guy? Is Quinn Ewers going to be the Quinn Ewers from a year ago? Is Arch going to steal the show? And then you're going up against a Clemson team that people still sleep on, but as long as you get in the door, you have a shot. What are you thinking about this game, man?
This one for me, it kind of comes down to the prep time. Sark having all this extra time, a couple weeks before the game, I think. Had the game been just boom right after conference championships, I would have given Clemson a better shot. With that said, nobody is better at convincing their team that they are the underdog than Dabo. With the tiring Tyler from Spartanburg or all the other dadgummit stuff that he comes up with. I'm just not sure I see it with this Clemson team. They've got some really, really nice pieces, but I think the Texas roster is just better. And another thing that we all jump back and forth on is I just don't think Quinn Ewers is he's not Tommy Rees when Tommy Rees was at Notre Dame. Like, he's a good quarterback. I don't understand. It's just because we got the pretty nice car behind him that we all think is going to be the Ferrari, but we don't know. I'm just not sure. But I think Ewers is really good. But I think it comes down to Sark having 2 weeks to dedicate to this game. Next week might be a different story with their matchup, but that prep time, that defense is really good too. And Ryan Wengo, Texas just has it, man. Georgia is Georgia, to your point. That's the only thing I can go. Georgia is not going to play down when they're playing a team like Texas. So you're going to get the best Georgia, especially when everybody from Texas was saying that they wanted Georgia, like some goofy team in the North is saying right now. So sorry, that was a bit long-winded. I'm just thinking it through. I want to find a way for Dabo to be able to pull it off, but I just don't. Klubnik's not there yet for me.
And that's the thing. I mean, honestly, I totally agree. And with the exception of the loss to both losses to Georgia, Texas has no blemishes, And I can't, when I look at Clemson, they have the 3 losses, but they didn't, Alex, we talk about a team that really didn't look that great up until you start, the last couple of weeks. Then obviously they play themselves into this position. But this has not looked like a playoff team to me for a good portion of this season, watching them in the ACC. Texas got the horses. I mean, can Dabo get these guys amped up to play in this ball game? Or, is Clemson, was it just a nice story?
Clemson's got a shot for one reason I'll get to in a second. Clemson's not a playoff team. The only reason they snuck in is because nobody wanted to win the ACC and they took it. That's the only reason they're here. If you look at the actual rankings, they're 17, something like that. Like they're not a playoff team. They lost to a team that's actually ranked ahead of them in those rankings, but it is what it is. Clemson has a shot because as much as I too love Quinn Ewers, look at him in these big games the last couple of years.
Mm.
When it got to the crucial moments against Washington last year, he crumbled.
Mm-hmm.
Did not play well when he got near the end zone on that last drive. I think a couple of those throws he absolutely should have made was the difference between them winning and losing. This year against Georgia, both times looked awful for large stretches of that game. I think for as much as we talk about some of these coaches and their big game issues, I think there's something to be said for Quinn Ewers as well.
Mm.
I hope that he can get over that hump because I want to see Texas kind of progress a little bit. But I do think Texas is going to win this game for that matter. But I do think it's going to be closer than people think because they're going to try and get Quinn out of this funk that he's been in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. And I mean, that's going to be difficult when obviously you're looking over your shoulder, you're sticking daggone making commercials about backup. I don't need no daggone backup. Well, clearly at some points you do need a backup. And as we saw on the other side, I think this for me, for Clemson, it has to be a coming out party for Cade Klubnik because he was the backup and they went to him. Now, there's a lot of people that might say they didn't have a starter in DJ, but listen, he's going to the league, all right? And he's going to be a great tight end in the league. I will stand by that, all right?
He's going to be a great fifth string quarterback in training camp.
Oh, hey, emergency. Hey, Logan Thomas was a great tight end, quarterback turned tight end, and we used them at some quarterback plays, all right?
You know what? Tim Boyle somehow keeps getting jobs, so there's openings everywhere.
God, exactly. But look, so I personally, I'm hoping to see what Cade Klubnik can do, and I know, like you guys said, Dabo's going to get those guys amped up, but at the end of the day, I kind of think that Texas is just if they're not playing Georgia, then just like if Georgia's not playing Bama, then I think they're a formidable force. And Quinn, I think this should be a nice win for him, but he's going to be tested. He's absolutely going to be tested. So we'll see what happens. But listen, without further ado, we got to get to the game that we all are concerned with. And I see the time. I know my mind. I see my guy's eyes. He's getting ready. He's locked in because in a little bit, number 10 seed Indiana is coming to touchdown Jesus. They're coming to South Bend to play my guys, Fighting Irish, Notre Dame. Man, this is what you've been waiting for. Just talk to us. Because us two up here, and me in particular, I haven't tasted this in a while. This guy, he's still riding high off his victory parade. All right. But we know what people have said. We know how, oh, Notre Dame, can they do this? Brian Kelly left, blah, blah, blah. You guys are here. And we know about the one slip up. Everything else, you guys have been a formidable force dominating all year long. Tell me what it feels like to be here, right here, less than 30 minutes away from the game.
When we were chatting before, I said it feels like you're playing with house money because after that game, seeing a path to this, to hosting a game, let alone hosting, but to even making it, I was just, hey, give me the 12th seed. I'll be happy. That was even 2 weeks ago. Just give me 12. This is, it's very exciting for the game itself. I look forward to breaking down the actual game here in a minute, but the same old Notre Dame stuff. I mean, it's a real conversation. This is the chance really of my fanhood, like my conscious fanhood, to finally win a BCS or a playoff game or a January, bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
I know this isn't January bowl, but we all know this is of that magnitude. So yeah, I mean, we walk away from this, losing a game at home. Like, you get to do this at home at night to get the monkey off your back. Like, it's set up for that finally to get off of us. And I know at the end of the day, we beat Indiana. it's going to be the same conversation as last week. It doesn't matter when we beat good teams. It's still the same old Notre Dame. But to me, it would be a very, very meaningful win just to get through this week, because I hear it all the time. At least the narrative will change a little bit, and I don't have to hear we haven't won a playoff game. So, yeah, I'm stoked, man. Couldn't be happier. And the fact that the first game is at Notre Dame Stadium is pretty freaking awesome.
It's a great way to kick it off.
Exactly. And that's the thing, Alex. We're kicking it off that way against Notre Dame, who is, I mean, the most tenured team, the team that the first team I ever learned about way back, Newt Rockney, the Four Horsemen, all that, way back when to this point now, to playing a team that's their first ever 10-win season, a team that used to be a doormat in the Big Ten, but this year, not so much. Talk to me about Indiana, because obviously certain ones of us that are not here and are not named had their issues with Indiana until they found out it was actually the Indiana Dukes. They only lost to Ohio State. Talk to me about what this team is and what it can be. And are they? I mean, is this an even matchup?
It's hard to say, because Ohio State was the only tough game they had all year. Now, I mean, you could throw that was right around when we started to turn the corner, so you could throw that as like a tough game. And I do think if we had Will Johnson, we win that game. But it's tough to say with Indiana, because we don't really know what we're getting when the chips are all on the table. This is year one with Cignetti, year one with the majority of these players in this system. And it's kind of hard to know what you're going to get when push comes to shove against a team like Notre Dame with one of the better defenses in college football, with that running game, that offensive line, their ability to just set the tone from the opening play. It's going to be hard for Indiana. They're going to get punched in the mouth early, and they're going to have to see if they can bounce back.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean, look, we talk about weather. We talk about it being cold, but Indiana plays up north, so they're not concerned with the weather. But this is the type of game where if you have a really good run game and a really good defense, that could carry you all the way. And Notre Dame, I mean, that's it. That's y'all to a T. So talk to me about this. Led by Riley Leonard, led by your running back, Love. I love it. You know, coming into this game, talk to me about this game. Like, hosting it, yes, being at home, but schematically, how are you guys going to pull this one out?
Yeah, it's going to have to be the same thing that's worked the past 8 weeks. So that is Riley Leonard is going to have to hit some easy passes. We don't ask much of him. They really kind of simplified what he's been asked to do in the passing game. They've made the reads a lot quicker, which has been a tremendous help to him. That was really a struggle early on in the season. Defense, that is our lifeblood. Making sure that Rourke is kept in check, which, you know, I hate going on these shows because I tell you how confident I am in something, and then all of a sudden, oh crap. But I think we have one of the best secondaries, if not the best secondary in the country, and that's without Benjamin Morrison. I think we have 2 future second, third round corners that are playing without him in. You know, top defensive player, safety, just the defense is loaded, but it's not just Jeremiah Love, it's Jadarian Price. Whatever backfield you want to put up against those two in the country, like, do it. When it gets beyond them to Aeneas Williams and Kedron Young, they step in. They do just fine too. So Riley Leonard is going to be what makes or breaks this game. The defense is going to show up. Whether or not the run game shows up right away, if Indiana sells out. But if they keep hammering away, there's a little bit of progress as far as getting the ball out to the receivers, getting Riley in a rhythm. Eventually, Love or Price are going to break one. They do it almost every week. So Riley Leonard is where we're living today, man. But that dude is a weapon. He falls forward for 10 yards. He looks slow as can be when he runs, but he's fast.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to move the ball fine. I don't think we're going to put up 50 points, but if we can put up 30, I think that means we controlled the game. I have a hard time seeing them put up more than 20 on us. I think this defense is really, really, really good. And this is the speed of this team is not the same old Notre Dame. That's one thing we can say definitively. The Marcus Freeman era defensively, the last 3-4 years of recruiting, we got dudes physically. Our linebackers are a level beyond what they had been. Mike Mickens has us set up with some of the best corners. Our defensive line is a little suspect just because of so many injuries. There's no one on that line that's going to blow you away, but they're good. So,
hey, look, both of these teams only came in with one loss, and we know about the coaches. We know about the power on these teams, but I want to stick at that quarterback position. Alex, we've talked about Riley Leonard, and this year I can talk about him positively because I will not name the school that he came from, F Duke. And I love what he's been able to do. But another name of somebody that came from somewhere else, we look at Curtis Rorick and what he's been able to do at Indiana. I mean, for me, this is the bright lights are on. And Indiana, when they played Ohio State, didn't look that good. And for a portion of the game, it was closer, but by the end of the score, I think it was 38-15. Obviously Notre Dame had the one loss, but since then have just no blemishes. So who's going to steal the show at quarterback?
To me, I think if kind of like what Eric was saying, I think if you were looking for Riley Leonard to steal the show, this game's gone awry for Notre Dame. Curtis Rourke is going to have to steal the show for Indiana to have a chance today. But this is the exact kind of game players left their schools to come to Indiana for. Kurt Cignetti got all these guys that wanted a bigger opportunity, had that chip on their shoulder, and wanted to prove that they belonged. And these are the exact kind of games that you signed up to be an Indiana Hoosier for. So let's see if they come out and show why they came to this school.
Oh, absolutely. And hey, I'm here for it. And we know it's not too long, about 10 minutes to go. But listen, a lot of people are looking at this game as the first game, but a lot of people are looking at it not for this one, but for who they play next. And that is the Bulldogs, who in the last 3 years have 2 national championships and are looking for their 3rd and 4 years. And, we know Kirby just had a press conference or whatever, and the Notre Dame people are saying, we want Georgia. We want Georgia. Look, shout out to, I
realize Georgia made it in?
Yeah. Let's go. Hey, without further ado, we got to bring it. I'm not gonna let you say nothing without us giving them an opportunity to have a couple words. So the hosts of this week in Georgia football, Colin P. and Anthony Handy. What up, gentlemen?
Whoa,
guys.
What's up? Look at that bang bang already. Okay. I didn't even get on the show yet.
I see we popping off shots fired. That what we doing now?
Yo,
that's what we doing now. Where they do that at? Where they do that at?
Yo, talk about that a little bit because Kirby was having his speech, and we're gonna talk about Kirby because he's keeping everything close to the vest. But while he's doing that, obviously you guys have your eyes on this game because Notre Dame has had their things they had to say, but also Indiana, does not want to be slept on. Talk to me from y'all.
We saw what the assistant CEO of Papa John's had to say. About we beat them by 45, and we beat them by 37, and we beat them by 42. I saw what he had to say.
Yeah,
That man doing a whole bunch. That man doing a whole bunch of.
He said kick the shit out of him or something.
That man doing a whole bunch of talking. He talking like look like Kevin Hart. Like Kevin Hart, that is. He said, "Hey, you don't supposed to say that. That the winner's supposed to say that. That the winner's supposed to say that." He doing all that talking.
Already. But talk
Selling wool
about
chicken.
it. You guys got your eyes on this game because obviously you guys played the winner of this game. When you look at this, I mean, what do you guys think? Is there somebody you want over the other, or is it just whoever comes will take it?
Hey, look, this is what everybody's been, from a fan point of view. People have been saying forever they need to let more teams in because our teams keep getting let out. And now we have the 12-team playoff. And Sean, is just like you always say, you have to play the people that are in front of you. So whether Georgia winds up playing Indiana or they wind up playing Notre Dame, let's go. Line them up, get in the 3-point stance. Let's knock heads and see who wins who's on top of the pile when the dust clears. Well, I will say this. I don't know when last, if ever, we played Indiana, but one thing I do know is when Georgia and Notre Dame play each other, they beat the snot out of each other. It's always a knockdown, drag out, a lot of times low-scoring game that might come down to the wire. And for some reason, when the band strikes up, when the marching redcoats strike up Krypton in the fourth quarter, them boys suck up a gut and come out ready to knock some more heads. But so I will say that if it's a Notre Dame game, I guarantee it will be one for the ages. This will be the fourth one. This will be the fourth one in the last 40 years because we played them, like we had a home and home, and then we played again sometime after that. So this will be the fourth one in the last 40 years. This will be another one for the ages. I can't really speak to Indiana. They got one loss coming into this whole thing, right? All right.
Only losses to Ohio State.
They got one loss, and they lost to Ohio State. And while you could say, well, who else had they played? Then that one loss is to Ohio State. Mm-hmm. So again, you play who you lined up against. Sean, you and I had talked about this too. It don't matter if they're cupcakes or they're 8-course meal. Beat them. That's all you got to do. Yeah, so I personally can't say one or the other. I'd love to see a Notre Dame matchup though, just because of what that has become over the course of the last 10, 15 years.
Oh, dude, that's me. I'd rather, just for the simple fact that Eric, as much as Banner, we're going back and forth, man. I would love to meet you next day. It's a little bit too early for me. I wish we could beat it in the championship. You know what I mean? Like at the big dance. But I'm with Anthony on that. It's whoever's in front of you. It's like the schedule that is predetermined during the regular season. You play who you play, and you got to get through them. And you pass. Predetermined.
Do I get to answer who I want if we go to second round? Oh, I don't got a choice. My bad.
Right. Wait, look, watch me go Cat Williams on the Shannon Sharp podcast. Sir, did Georgia? You had a question. Did Georgia make it in, sir? Only 2 national championships in the last 3 years, sir.
So no, man. When you said about the crown,
crown. That was funny. I think you both know that I'm just jesting because
it's all talk.
I think Georgia, and I've said it before, and I did say I want Georgia a month ago, not because it's like I want Georgia, it's just because I want to know if we're good or not. And the only way that I feel like I know if we're good or not is if we can go toe to toe with Georgia.
There you go.
And that's where it stems from for me. Now, if we're saying who do I want to play to make sure that we win a game, it ain't Georgia.
Arizona State.
Hey, look, you still got Cam Scatterboo to deal with if you play Arizona State.
But of those 4 first round bye teams, I'm absolutely taking Arizona State out of the 4.
Yeah. Well, if you gotta pick,
Well, I think this is going to be an interesting topic, but first and foremost, we got to do something we have not done yet this year. I apologize. I haven't seen my guy in the comments. Another SEC representative, Vandy Chris. What up, sir?
Oh, no way.
Oh, snap.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? A Vandy guy in the house.
Come on.
Vandy has entered the building.
Half the people in the playoffs, half the people aren't in the playoffs. This is nice. Balance it out.
Hey, look, we got to shout you out real quick because you got some great news. Your quarterback is coming back for another year.
Yep.
Hey, have you seen what we're doing in the transfer portal too? We've got like 3 of the top 10 offensive linemen in the portal.
Which is
we
massive.
coming, baby. Coming.
Hey, I'm calling it now. Next year at this time, Vandy will be one of the 12. Let's go.
We hunting Georgia.
Bang bang. Bang bang.
Hey, I'm pretty sure whether you have seen it or not, you are all familiar with the television show called The Wire.
Yeah.
One of the main characters was a gentleman who went by the name of Omar, and Omar had a very famous saying: "If you come for the king, you best not miss." That's all I got.
Absolutely. So, and that reminds me of something. I heard a comment from the Notre Dame guy over here that they're asking for Georgia.
Well, we don't have a choice. So of course what are we going to say? We don't want Georgia?
So here's my thing. Do you remember what happened when Georgia came up to Notre Dame and took over your house? You don't want Georgia.
I don't know. I remember that being a tough game going each way.
I remember one of them being a 1-point game that gave me a heart attack.
Very close. But look, let's stay there because we're talking about.
We give you Clark Lee and you come at me? What is this?
Hey, guys, he's changing game time mode. He's ready.
I'm ready.
Hey, look, let's talk about first round buys. And obviously, number 1 seed Oregon, number 2 seed Georgia, number 3 seed Boise State, number 4 seed Arizona State. Since we got SEC people in here, I want to stick with Georgia at first because, yes, obviously you look at this and you're like, yes, Arizona State, maybe that's the one that I want to go up against. But there's a little bit of concern at quarterback for Georgia. Now, Georgia, if you listen to the Georgia pods, they're holding out hope that the longer Georgia plays, the more of a chance that they might potentially get Carson back. But it's, from what I've heard, it's a UCL injury, which is you need that Tommy John. So it's looking like the backup is in there. So I know how the Georgia people feel. Chris, talk to me. If you have Gunnar Stockton in there, does Georgia miss a beat, or is he able to still kind of keep the ball rolling?
So let me tell you my opinion on Gunnar Stockton leading this Georgia offense. What I saw him do the other night reminded me of another Georgia quarterback. Quavius, baby.
Hell yeah.
Gunnar Stockton.
You better preach, Deacon. You better preach, Deacon. Don't make red and black come out of me tonight, boy. Don't get me started.
Gunnar Stockton leading that offense makes Georgia better than with Carson Beck.
Okay. I like that. And look, I don't disagree with that. We've seen that Carson struggled with a healthy arm. So, and what we see with Gunnar is that you start to open up the ability to run the ball. You have a quarterback that could stretch the field with his arm, but also with his legs. But let me ask you this, okay? We were talking about Stets, yes, and I always give these two guys a hard time because with Stets, you also had Big Baby, Jalen Carter, Quay Walker, N'Kobe Dean. You
Brock
also
Bowers,
had
Lyle McConkey.
right. You had a stacked team. I don't think outside of number 11, Walker, I don't know that you have all of those same pieces. So I feel like it would be a little bit more on the quarterback, on Gunnar. Can he rise up and be the guy? Handy, yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say I do still think Georgia has moderately close to that level of talent. I just, for some reason,
defensively,
this particular defensively, for some reason, this defensive squad though, versus the 2021 and the 2022 squads, there was always somebody to cover the back of someone else if somebody was short.
Yeah.
They don't seem to have that same cohesiveness. They have the talent, but they don't seem to have that same cohesiveness. Like if like a couple of years ago, if Keeley was short on coverage, Malachi had his back, and vice versa. But if Malachi is short, well, now he's got Dan Jackson. Dan Jackson, dirty Dan is just nasty. But those two being the lead D backs, they're covering opposite sides of the field. It's not like at that point. Now, offensively, I think the talent is there offensively too. I just do not know what is going on with Ronnie, Hands of Stone, Garvin, I can't even remember the boy's name. He dropped so many passes and get on my nerves. But
Arian Smith.
Thank you,
look,
Arian Smith. The boys got Usain Bolt. The boy got Usain Bolt feet and rubber hands. Can't catch nothing.
Look, Colin. To his point, yes, the talent is there. You know, maybe I will always pump the brakes when you talk about the talent being the same, because we're seeing Brock Bowers do some things and Ladd McConkey in the league that these guys on the team right now, I don't think they can do. But what I will say is what we've talked about with all this talent, you guys have talked about it to me all year. Bobo, the offense is vanilla. He's kind of predictable. Some of the things. Now you got a guy that has not played this year, except with the exception of the last game. Is he going to be able to spice it up, or is it going to be kind of predictable if you got a great defense coming against him?
So,
are you asking? Who's answering the question?
I'll go.
Okay, go ahead, Colin. That's on you, brother.
I'll go ahead real quick. Well, yeah, that so I mean, just the way those guys rallied around him, like knowing that he was going in the second half, and that's Sean. That's kind of what I was talking about Carson. You know, that fire, the emotion, that kind of stuff. You know, he had. I mean, he sparked them. Like he came in, it was like, you know, they had his back, and it was undeniable. It was just a spark that lit the fire. And there was a whole lot more emotion going on, you know. I mean, just that's kind of what my point was. You know, it's not nothing against Carson. That's just not his MO. That's not what he does. You know, he goes out there and plays ball. But it seems to benefit us more when, you know, where everybody's excited, pumped up, throwing people around, and, you know, and doing that kind of stuff, which, you know, helps everything. But as far as Stockton, you know, if it didn't remind you of Stetson, you know, him doing the run and everything, and then throwing that pick. You know, it reminded me of Stetson. You know, he threw that pick. It honestly cost us that game. You know, the defense held us in. You know, but hopefully he, that reminded me of, you know, when Stetson took over. You know, he threw some picks. You know what I mean? Some bad decisions, but I mean, you can't really. That kid hasn't seen many snaps.
I think well, to piggyback, I hate to use the military term that everybody hates, but to piggyback off of that, you see the reaction that the team had when Gunner went in. That first play, he lowered the boom, put his shoulder pads on somebody. All of a sudden, everybody started playing like their hair was on fire. Go back a few years, when JT Daniels was the heir apparent to take over the starting quarterback position, and folks were like, okay, let's see what he can finally do. And he was playing well. But again, there was a lot of people saying the same things. You know, he's kind of mid. Is he going to be able to do better or worse than Jake Fromm did? We were all hoping better, because Jake regressed mightily after the 2018 season. And then he got hurt. And then all of a sudden, Stetson gets handed the reins, and all of a sudden, the defense is on fire. It's the number 1 ranked defense in the country. The offense is clicking on all 11 cylinders. And when I say all 11, I mean all 11. It was, I think it's that same kind. I think that same lightning does not necessarily strike twice, but I do think you can catch lightning in a bottle more than once. And
but it helped. You can look at Lucky. You know, look at Lucky and him that catch. You know, it makes everybody try more. You know, and that was you know, reminiscent of Bowers. I mean, that was a Bowers play. You know, it just, you know, he caught and got the ball, got a foot down, and, you know, it seemed like the guys were going out after the ball. Like if the ball was off, if the pass was off a little bit, but he was slinging the ball too. Like he was throwing fastballs. So I mean, you know, it's just I like what I saw. We don't have
real quick. Eric, I know your game is starting. Do you need to?
I'm going to dip here in a second because I got to get my computer out of throwing range.
Yeah.
I do want to ask one question. This isn't taking a shot. It's a curiosity for Colin and Anthony.
I wonder if it's the same question I've been meaning to ask.
So I'm 100%. I watched that Georgia-Texas game, and when Gunner came in, boom, like there was an intensity pickup. Is it it would be concerning to me. Is it not concerning to you that it's taking him to be the one that triggers that when you got dudes all over the field? You got leadership from seniors and juniors out there, and that energy did not step up until he came in the game and made a play. Like where are the other dudes
on the offensive side? You mean?
No, the defense came out with their hair on fire in the second half.
Yeah,
man.
that whole team flipped the switch once Gunner got out there.
That's been the MO for the defense all season, though. So I can't really necessarily put that on Gunner. But as far as the offense is concerned, I'm 100% with you. I'm 100% with you. You know what I mean? It's like it's almost like. Well, let's go back a couple of seasons. You notice if Stetson was having an off game, sometimes Brock and Ladd and those guys would have an off game too. It's like it had to be a thing where all 8 Pistons were running in sync and all the cylinders were firing at the same time. And I think this is it too. It's like we're good, but we're not quite there. We need that piece. We need that piece. It's like the Eddie Murphy joke where he's talking about selling chopsticks. We need a hook for this. We need something. And he says, what a bargain? Chopsticks, 29 cents. What a bargain. That'll get them to buy the chopsticks. They found their what a bargain moment. Boom. Now all of a sudden.
But I think they feed off each other, man. I mean, you see the offense knocking heads. They see Gunner go out there a couple plays.
I think that's going to be So it'll be interesting to see now with Gunner playing a full game.
Exactly. And I'm curious. It might be like he might. But if he's not doing that, I just wonder. And that's the battle all of our teams face, right? Like where do you get that?
Chris, what do you think, man? What are your thoughts?
So from an outsider's perspective, I'm gonna give you what it was like for me as a Vanderbilt fan. Okay, our team last year went 2-10. We had a Georgia, who is now a Georgia receiver, London Humphreys, fast as lightning, great hands. Averaged over 21 yards a catch. Yep. Every time he caught the ball, he scored. We had that guy. We had Will Shepherd, who these guys can attest was one of the top 5 wide receivers in the SEC. And our offense had zero identity. They had no life to them at all. Sometimes it takes a guy like a Diego Pavia or a Gunner Stockton to create that atmosphere for guys to want to play to that level.
Yep.
Oh, I agree. 100%. But Diego was a proven commodity even when he had come to you. We didn't know he was going to do what he did in the SEC.
Right.
He had a track record. So it's just if it
can we
doesn't
pump our brakes on that real quick?
Yeah.
Alex, I think I mentioned that New Mexico State, this man was going to dominate. And he showed up. Now I didn't think he was going to have the year that he had with Vandy.
Yeah,
I definitely was like, this guy is a little tiny, like a little pit bull ready to go, and he just don't have any. He just has no fear. I love watching.
Just goes for it.
I'm glad to see him play another year because I like the fact that Vanderbilt's getting all the love now when all the content SEC content creators, the content creations is amazing. I love it.
Mm-hmm. They definitely stepped their game up this year.
All right, Sean Spencer. Hey, I love all you guys. Thank you. I love talking with all of you. I do hope we get Georgia because that means we beat IU. And Vandy, Clark Lee, I love him, man.
Yes.
Great guy. Like
great guy.
University. Michigan, you suck. Have a good
I'll flash this. A little bit longer. I get to flash that still. A little bit longer.
All right, EK. Good seeing you, buddy. We'll talk soon. Oh man. So look, let's go into it. Alex, I'll start with you. These are first round buys with Oregon, Georgia, Boise State, Arizona State. Obviously, everybody says Arizona State. Maybe that's the easiest of the 4. Is Oregon locked at the hardest of the 4? I know a lot of people have them going all the way, but are they the truth?
I think they're the best team of the 4. I think from top to bottom, including the coaching staff, I think they've earned the right to be number 1. Mm-hmm. They've also got the hardest path by far. They got screwed by being the number 1 seed. You get to play either Ohio State or Tennessee, and then you've got to play what's likely going to be Texas to get the chance to probably play whoever comes out of that other side, probably either Georgia, Notre Dame, or Penn State. So if that's your path to a national championship, I'd love somebody to try and find a tougher one for me, because that, especially from the first round buys, they got hosed. They got absolutely screwed there. But as far as the first round buy teams goes, I think it's the Ducks. I think it's in that exact ranking. I think it's the Ducks, the Bulldogs, the Broncos, and then the Sun Devils.
I love that. And Chris, I'm gonna come to you. I mean, look, we know number one, we've talked Georgia, and obviously Arizona State. They're the best story, and I love this. But you and I had conversations about the Heisman race. Obviously, it didn't go the way that we might have thought it went, but we cannot belittle the season that Ashton Jeanty has had. Can he lift this Boise State team past the? They're either going to play. They're going to play the winner of the Penn State SMU game. Can they ride him to the Final Four, the national championship, the whole thing?
So let me take this somewhere a lot of people have not gone yet. Ashton Jeanty did what he did without an offensive line. Their offensive line at Boise State was not good at all, and they didn't have a passing threat. Occasionally, they could make some plays, but it wasn't consistent.
Right
now, you combine that with where they're playing their first game at Tempe, Arizona, in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yep.
What's Boise State's history in the Fiesta Bowl?
They shocked the world, baby.
Yep.
David beating Goliath.
Boise State to the semifinals, and the Barry Sanders record gets broken in Tempe.
Woo! Let's go.
I like it.
I'm here for
And
it.
the quarterback is still married to the cheerleader.
Yeah.
He was 18 years later, and he's still married to her. I love that. Ian Johnson. I love that. The running back. But Colin, I'll come to you. Obviously, I'm gonna come back to Georgia with it, because obviously Kirby has his cards close to his vest. He's not saying anything, but let's be honest. Georgia has been here before. There's that muscle memory. We know what it's like. How is Kirby going to get these guys prepared? Whoever's quarterback for whoever they have to face.
With a whole lot of words.
I think they've been battle tested all year. I mean, like he said, we. Oh, I'm gonna echo. You guys hear me?
Yeah. We're good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So no, yeah. I mean, like the battle tested. He said those guys never quit. So I mean, I think it would be fine. It's just like like you said, we've been here before. So
You still here? We hear you.
Are you freezing up over there, brother?
Kirby said, "Don't say anything." He said,
"Right."
We're not.
Kirby Jackson said, "Keep your mouth shut."
Shut it up.
He just got a message for Kirby, like, shut it down. Seriously though, Kirby is that dude. Sean and I had this conversation. He reached out and asked me about it, and I said, the one thing about Kirby is Kirby treats any injury that is not season ended, has not been diagnosed as season ending, like a Pentagon secret. Okay. If you notice, the punter got hurt in the same game. Within less than 24 hours, they made the announcement that he had a season-ending non-contact injury. Blah blah blah. We still don't know, other than somebody leaked out that Carson had the UCL injury, and that's it. And it's just led everybody to speculate: will he make it? Is he getting surgery? Did he catch a flight to the Dominican Republic and get the bootleg surgery at the same place where the ladies go get the BBLs? We don't know. Like, nobody knows anything right now. So it does. We as human beings, when we don't have an answer, we try and come up with something ourselves. But as far as the spark, Kirby has proven himself to be a master at getting these guys to rise to the occasion. So far, they have only lost in 3-4 seasons, have only lost 2 regular season games. which is insano in this world, in this in college football, especially in the NIL era of college football with the rabid transfer portal. So this guy knows what he's doing. I think he's gonna rile them up. He's probably got bulletin board material everywhere. So
yeah, we're 31-0 at home, and the seniors haven't lost a game, at Dooley Field. So yeah, I mean it seems like the seniors the leaders are stepping up at the right time. I mean, at the end of the year,
about damn time finally.
Yeah, right. We've always been talking about that leader. There's been really an apparent leader in the locker room that we could tell. Usually they're very apparent, like in the Kobe and those guys, and very apparent on the field, on the sideline, and you can tell who they are. I mean, they're there. I mean, I couldn't pinpoint one at all on the, but they're starting to come out now. Better late than never. But I mean, as far as the Beck thing, I was like, it makes me wonder, like, is his time done in Athens? I mean, like, I don't know. I don't want to say that he's lackluster, and then he just didn't seem as himself. I mean, he actually didn't throw. I mean, like, he was playing better the second half of the season. Didn't have as many picks as he had at the beginning of the season. He had more touchdowns, but he's performing better. But I'm just wondering if he's got one more year of eligibility. I mean, like, would he come back, or would he
should
test the waters in the portal since of his injury? Like, so I mean, but you look at Vandegrift, look what happened to him. I mean, I would think twice. Go to a good team or to a team that's
Chris, look, you've seen these guys. You've seen what they're up against. Yeah, they might have an issue at quarterback. Yeah, the players might not be saying whatever X, Y, and Z. They show up. They know what they're doing. Georgia, right now, in my opinion, they've been there before. So that's my favorite. That's what I lean to. You seeing them in the SEC year in and year out, the kind of players, but also the coaching, the adjustments that Kirby can make in each of these games. Is it Georgia's title to lose this year?
I don't know if I'd say it's Georgia's title to lose. They are certainly one of the favorites. I think the other two favorites are the winner of Tennessee, Ohio State, and Oregon. Mm-hmm. Those are your three front runners, and I don't think it's close. Mm-hmm. But in terms of Georgia and adjustments, I got to ask one question real quick before I go any farther with this. So, how many redshirt seniors are on this team or fifth-year players that played in 2020?
That's a very good
question.
For
which team, sorry?
Georgia?
For Georgia.
That's a very good question. That's one for which I
haven't. And you'll see where I'm going with this in just a minute.
How many?
So the reason I asked that is in 2020, they had a game canceled. And it would have been this year, these guys that are fifth-year players this year, it would have been their first season at Georgia, the COVID year. And those guys got absolutely outraged that they didn't get to give their seniors a senior day. Mm-hmm. And they've never looked back. They put it on themselves to make sure they never got themselves in another situation where they couldn't pump their seniors up the way they're supposed to.
Oh, yeah.
And Georgia has been filthy ever since then. Yeah. So it kind of makes me wonder, once this class is gone, where do they go?
Huh? Because that's the absolute last of the last. Once they leave,
yep,
that is the absolute last of the last of the championship guys.
Mm-hmm. And that was before, the transfer portal has always been there, but it hasn't been what it's been over these last 3 to 4 years. So now,
wasn't that the year that Justin transferred to Ohio State?
I think it was.
Mm-hmm. Justin left in 29.
And that's the year y'all beat us.
What's that? He left when, Alex? 2019?
Justin started for Ohio State in the 2019 season.
Okay. Well, he was the one that opened the door to start the whole craziness that's going on now.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean that these guys will be the absolute last, unless somebody on the squad has some junior college credits. Now, thank you, Diego, if we get to keep any of our guys. But yeah, that'll be the absolute last of the championship players from. No, won't we have one more year because of 20? No, I take that back because anybody that came in 2021 will be at their third or fourth year at this point, the fourth or fifth year at this point. So yeah, it'll be the last. It'll be the last of the 2021 championship run team. Anyhow, yeah, I did not even factor that in, Chris. That's the kind of that's our guy right here, ladies and gentlemen. Our guy. Vandy Chris, he's that's the guy. He's like the historian that's down in the catacombs with all the yellow newspapers and stuff, digging up the facts. I'm not even making that up. Chris will pull something. They'll be like, "Hey, man, that was a great game when Georgia played Georgia Tech. Hey, did you know when Georgia Tech first played? Georgia Tech originally was a bulldog, but the bulldog got stung by a bee, and they thought it was so cool that they changed their mascot to a yellow jacket. That's the kind of stuff that Chris will come up with. But yeah, wow, that's food for thought.
Let's go. Look, the game is on. I know we all want to watch it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this up here, and we're gonna go game by game, give our picks, take it all the way down to the very end. You see what is up here right now. Obviously, we're gonna start off first and foremost, and I'm bringing it to you, Chris. Tonight's game, 7-10. Indiana going to Notre Dame. Obviously, I read, Alex, you said there was already two interceptions thrown by both teams.
Yeah, both teams have thrown a pick to start off their drives.
Oh, man, this is going to be a defensive battle. Who you got in this game, Chris?
So one thing I keep coming back to is if you look at Indiana, that game against Ohio State, they had 53 yards in total offense at halftime, and it was still a 14-7 ball game. That defense played lights out.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I think they're overlooked defensively because of what they've done on offense. I don't trust Riley Leonard. I believe in O'Rourke more than I do Leonard. I think Indiana pulls an upset here.
So we got a quick update here. Jeremiah Love, 98-yard touchdown run. It is 7-0 Notre Dame.
Oh, wow.
Off the interception at their own goal line. Just like that, he's gone.
I know my guy
That
loves that.
makes me crazy.
I know my guy loves that. All right, Andy, what you think? Who you got in this game?
You know what? At first I said Indiana. I believe I said on our show that Indiana has a big chance at bringing the upset. I don't know. As we have drawn closer to the game, I think Notre Dame wins this one. I do think they're going to beat the crap out of each other for the first couple of quarters, and then I think Notre Dame figures it out and wins. I won't say pulling away, but I'm going to give them at least a minimum of 10. I think Notre Dame wins this one by a minimum of 10.
I like that comment.
And then we have that matchup that we waiting on.
It's Notre Dame all day. Probably they're probably gonna win by 2 scores. I think.
I can dig it. Alex.
I've got this one going back and forth. The line's at 50. I don't think it hits that much. I'm looking at maybe Indiana's up late by a field goal. Notre Dame drives down, scores the touchdown to steal the game. I'll go about 20-17 kind of game.
Ooh, okay, I like that. Our buddy Will, he's got Indiana getting the win and playing Georgia next. I got to stick with my guy, E.K. Holiday. I'm going Notre Dame. I think it's 24-20 with a late touchdown, but it's going to be a defensive battle. All right, next we're going to go to Tennessee, Ohio State. Vandy Chris, you're very familiar with Tennessee. What you think? Who's winning this one?
So let me start this off by saying I hate Tennessee with a passion, unrivaled by any fan in America.
Oh yeah.
But not so fast, my friends.
Yes.
There's a reason Ohio State has not
there we
had
go.
an SEC team play in the horseshoe since 1988. There's a reason for that.
Mhm.
That reason is going to be on full display tomorrow night when Tennessee takes over that stadium and that crowd is orange and white. Tennessee punches them in the mouth and wins handily.
Ooh, wow. Oh, I like that. I like that. Andy, what you think?
I think I have a friend who I'm in an SEC group with that is a
No, you don't.
Tennessee fan,
Mhm.
and prior to Georgia playing Tennessee, he messaged me and said, "Get ready to hear strains of Rocky Top all day on Saturday, playing while we play." It didn't turn out that way for him. However, I do think that the good folks at Ohio State better enjoy all they can out of the band marching in. You've seen the video, the band marching in and dotting the I, because I think that they are going to hear Rocky Top play at least 4, 5, 6 times in their home stadium. That's right. I'm saying it, Buckeye fans. Rocky Top is coming to Ohio, and they're going to lay the smackdown on your candy asses because the Brahma Bull, with his millions, is bringing a smackdown to Ohio.
Yeah, next they don't play this. They don't play tomorrow, Nathan.
They play next week.
And to
Whatever it
Anthony's
is.
credit, to Anthony's credit, I'm probably friends with that same Tennessee fan, and I can hear him saying that.
Let's go, Colin. What you think, man?
Oh yeah, Tennessee's gonna do this. I mean, I'm all in on Tennessee. What got me is like Tennessee kind of was in the cut. Nobody was really talking about them. They were just said there's nobody's been barking too much. But I always thought they were gonna get in here and cause some drama. But I think they're gonna beat Ohio State though. I don't know. I would definitely take the points. I mean, they're picked. Ohio State's picked by 7. So yeah, I think Tennessee may win by at least 10, maybe 2 scores.
I can dig it. Alex.
I'd love to agree with you guys, but I don't see a spot where Tennessee's got a better player than Ohio State right now. I don't. I see Ohio State having mismatches all over the field. To me, I think the coaches outmatch. I wish I could say this the other way, but I don't think it. You guys are right when you say you don't think it's close. It's the other way though. I think Ohio State boat races Tennessee.
Woof. Good gracious.
So
Wait, Sean, I need you right now. 122.58.
I don't think that's crazy though.
Wind that back by about, no, I'm telling you for a reason, and you know why. 122 in about 50 seconds, maybe 47. Clip that and put that out there, because that is the first time I have ever heard the Google gangster say he thought Ohio State was worthy of winning the game. Not that they would not. I heard him say they can win.
He'll say they're worthy of winning the game, but he's
I've
just
heard
not.
no. I've heard him say they I see them winning this game, but he actually said they are a better opponent. What? Ooh, I better make sure
Across the
my
board.
life insurance policy
Correct,
is all
that's
checked out, because Jesus is coming back at 12:01
Wow.
Go ahead,
with
Chris.
the spaceship.
So I heard this comment. I heard this statement that across the board, Ohio State is better at every position. Did I hear that right?
If you're talking entire position groups, yes.
Boo Carter
How about head coach?
will be the best safety on the football field, bar none.
Caleb Downs. I will take Caleb Downs
I'm
every
telling
day
you,
and twice on Sunday.
I'm telling you, I watched Caleb Downs at Alabama. I've watched him at Ohio State. Boo Carter is better than Caleb Downs all day long.
Wow.
Also, Dylan Sampson is a better running back than Quinshawn Judkins all day long.
This is why I said entire position groups too, because the Ohio State secondary is miles ahead of the Tennessee secondary. The running back room of Ohio State is miles ahead of the entire running back room
The
of
whole
Tennessee.
room
I don't know about
isn't
y'all.
playing.
I don't know
But
about you, but I'm getting a little.
both Travion Henderson and Quinshaw Judkins will both play a ton. So I will take those two over one running back for Tennessee. Plus, I'll take the running game of Ohio State against Tennessee's defense versus the running game of Tennessee versus Ohio State's defense.
So first, look.
Tennessee
So
had
I don't know about y'all, but I'm getting kind of
Rusher all year.
uncomfortable with all this love Michigan thing.
well,
It's just straight facts. It ain't love. It's straight facts.
Tennessee hadn't a lot of 100-yard rusher all year.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Yep. It
I
pains
can't
me
wait.
to say all this.
I can't wait to say it. And that's why I like my guy Alex, because he gonna tell it the way he feels it, regardless.
Right.
But okay, so first of all, let's say this. Obviously, it's no surprise that the SEC defends the SEC and the Big Ten defends the Big Ten.
Yeah, there's also
Can we
that.
talk about how
Yeah.
Michigan fan rooting for Ohio State and a Vandy fan rooting for
No.
our
Don't
Tennessee?
get. I want Tennessee to win. Don't get it twisted. I want Tennessee to win. I want nothing more than for that. I just don't see it happening.
Look, you'll never see me voting for Duke. I'll say that. All right, Tar Heel Nation. All right. For me, I also have Ohio State. I don't think it's going to be boat race. I definitely love Dylan Sampson, but I think that defense for Ohio State is vastly underrated, and I think that wide receiver core for Ohio State, if they can get going, is going to be great. And Will Howard is my question. I've always had that question, but I think Ohio State will get this. I don't think it's going to be that far apart. I think it's going to be one of the best matchups of the weekend, in my opinion. Here's one that's going to be very interesting, and I'm going to go the same way. Chris, Penn State, SMU. Is this who you got in this one?
I'll probably be taking a nap during this game because Penn State goes out there and wins this game with ease.
They're going to run all over him. Hey, Handy, what you think?
I have to apologize. I was distracted. My little girl Luna back there is tell him about the dogs, Daddy. Tell him about the dogs. She's back there barking. She's like little Hoppin' Bob from Life. Like, tell him about the gun line, boss. Wow. SMU, Penn State. I think that Penn State is probably going to be one of the better defenses that SMU has faced. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I'm getting mixed up. I'm thinking I got SMU confused with. I got the mascot from SMU confused with Ashton Genty galloping down the field. I think that SMU. Seriously, that dude is a monster. Did you see him? I'm a sidebar for just a second. I want to say it was the conference championship. Did you see him just literally give somebody the death touch stiff arm? Like he barely touched him and dude just fell out. That's how
you pick probably about 6 or 7 games this year. He's done that.
That boy is strong. I mean, he's strong in a special
He
kind
got that
of way.
Derrick Henry stiff arm.
Oh yeah,
he literally
got
almost
that brace on there, that bionic. Yeah.
Almost like 2 fingers is like just put 2 fingers on him. It's like go to sleep. See you later. I realistically talking, I want to give Penn State the benefit of the doubt, but as much as I want to, I just can't. I can't see it happening. I want to, because I have good friends that are Penn State fans, and they, like us, have long suffered for another national championship. Well, before we won them 2 back there, but I do that a lot. I'm gonna keep doing that for a little bit. So y'all just get used to that. I see SMU winning this one. I do. I got SMU beating Penn State.
See, and here's where my random facts come out. Anthony's just a hater of James Franklin because he can't stand when James Franklin tried to fight Mike Rick at the 50-yard line at Vanderbilt Stadium.
Let's go.
I was just gonna say again, no coincidence. The Vanderbilt fan goes for James Franklin. We're right.
I ain't mad at James Franklin. When nobody studying James Franklin because if James Franklin really wanted to fight with Mark Rick, did he not see all 878 of them boys run up and curb stomp all over the Florida end zone at the Georgia-Florida game? He did not want that smoke. That was just a show for the cameras. And then he did the Kevin Hart daddy thing. Yeah, that's right. You better keep walking. You see, wait a minute, hold on. You see, he wanted to smoke with Mark Richt, but you see, when the Maryland coach was getting ready to go at him, he's like, well, if that's what you think, then that's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
He was not feeling him. Yeah, Loxley was not happy. He held him in close. He said, what you think, Colin?
Yeah, dude, I'm going SMU. I think they're gonna squeak this out. I think they're gonna win it as well. I've been thinking about that one. Just something about I can't put my finger on it, but I just think SMU's gonna squeak it out. Maybe a field goal, maybe a last minute field goal to seal it.
Yeah, I can dig it. Alex, what you think?
So par for the course here. I got another blowout. I don't think this is close. I think for SMU, this is one of the worst draws they could have got. As far as the defense, the running game, everything, the environment. Like I said before, we're getting the whiteout game again with Penn State. That stadium is going to be rocking. This is the biggest game they've played in years. They are going to be ready for it. I do not think this is close. I think it's over by halftime.
Yeah, I also got Penn State, cold weather at home, great running game, one of the best tight ends in the country, great defense. I think they do it. Shout out to SMU representing the ACC, but
yeah, they've had a hell of a year.
Yeah, they've had a great year, and for them to be in the spot, I love that, and I think they're going to put up a fight. But I think this game is too important to James Franklin and Penn State to get this dub and to move on. So I got them going. And Chris, one more game in the ACC and the SEC, as a matter of fact. Number 12, Clemson at number 5, Texas. Quinn Ewers, Cade Klubnik, Sark versus Dabo. Who you got?
So you guys have seen me say it in the comments many times this year. I'm gonna hold it off for just a second. But with Clemson, I think they're fool's gold. They've beaten one team all year ranked higher than number 60 in total defense.
Ooh.
Yep. That was SMU in the ACC championship. And to make it worse, SMU almost won that game had they not had 7 drop passes in the first quarter.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
It was rough early.
Yep.
Along those lines of being fool's gold, I've watched Cade Klubnik for 3 seasons.
Yep.
And I'm just not bought in. I don't think he's that guy.
Yeah.
And he's never been able to show any consistency to be that guy. And going against that Texas defense, what I'll say is that defensive line is the biggest I've ever seen in my life. That thing is massive.
Yep.
Now, it doesn't mean they're good. They're just big and hard to move out of the way. There's a difference between being good and being immovable.
Yeah.
I don't think Clemson's offensive line can move those guys out of the way.
Nope.
I don't think Clemson can run the ball. I got Texas winning this going away probably by 2 scores.
Yeah, I'm probably on board with that. Anthony, what you think?
Well, as a man of the cloth, we know about Dabo Swinney and his history with our good maker. And he will talk a lot about what the Lord is going to do for the Tigers at Clemson, them big old jungle cats. But as our good deacon Vandy Chris has pointed out, Texas has a defensive line that reminds us of the champion of Gath, who stood about 3'4", 8 cubits tall. It reminds us like the tree planted by the waters that say, I shall not be moved. It reminds us of the staff that Moses held in his hand and planted right smack in the middle of the Red Sea and parted the waters. You understand what I'm saying? And when he got on the other side, he said, okay, that's enough now. And Pharaoh and all them fellas just glub. That's what happened. I do not see if Quinn Ewers show up. Now, I do have a good ecclesiastical friend that say that Quinn, nothing wrong with Quinn Ewers. He just, the good Lord touched him in the rib, so Quinn about to find him a woman somewhere, like Adam got Eve from the rib. Quinn Ewers is about to show up and show out. Y'all talk on it. Y'all weren't supposed to laugh. I had a good roll going.
So
Texas is
so you're going Clemson, right?
Texas wins.
Oh, well, okay.
I was drawing to a close.
I didn't know where you were going with it after.
I was drawing to a close, Deacon. You didn't have to give me.
I didn't know if you wanted me to get tithes and offering yet, or if we're doing.
I lost you at the part that'll see me.
Well, it was like mentions of Texas, and then it goes way over here, and then mentions of Texas, and the way. I was like, okay,
I was working my way there. I couldn't hold it together, though, man. I'm looking at y'all, and y'all are dying. I'm looking down at my keyboard. I just looked up, and y'all are dying, and I said, that's it. That's it. That's all I got.
What the hell's going on?
He went getting the woman from the rib with Adam and Eve. I thought when he talked about getting a woman, I thought he was going with Samson and Delilah. That's where I thought. And he busted out Adam and Eve, and I'm like, I'm done.
Showing the PG-13, man.
I need to also send a shout out to my good friend Deacon Vandy Chris, holding that microphone like he getting ready to announce a prize fight. Let's get ready to rumble.
Oh man, Colin, what you think, man?
I thought that was a Coors beer.
You notice it's gold like my football helmets, right?
Yeah,
I
see that. I see that.
Yeah.
Well, fun fact. So is mine. It's just got the cover on it.
No, one of them slim Michelob Light. Sorry. No.
What? He said Michelob.
I'm going Texas. I'll be quick, short, and to the point. Texas. The other UT.
There you go. Yo, there you go. That's one half. The duo of this.
Yeah. No, cool. Nick Ultra.
Yeah. Yo, Alex, what you got, man?
All right, so I think Quinn struggles early.
He got a porn mustache. That's what he got.
I think it's close for about 3/4, and then Texas pulls away late, wins by 2 scores.
Yep. And I'm with Quinn Ewers having a coming out party and doing his thing. Our buddy Will says he has Texas in that one. He has Ohio State beating Tennessee. He has SMU beating Penn State. And like we said, Indiana beating Notre Dame. So when we come back next week, go ahead.
No,
when we come back next week, we will definitely bring you the updated list, and we'll see as the matchups get closer and closer. But before we head out of here, I got to shout out our guys. Hey, first and foremost, Vandy Chris. I believe this is the first time you've ever come on this show, man. We gotta play. We appreciate you for jumping on here, man.
Yeah, I saw you send that link to me, and I was like, I can't let him down. I got to jump in here. We've been talking about it for the whole season. We've talked about it.
I know.
And I'm like, I got to do it. I got to do it. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I so appreciate you being on here. But tell the people, Golden Boot podcast, all the things. What you got going on, man?
So we will be going live in about 45 minutes. We're on for 2 hours tonight. We're going to do some commentary about tonight's game. Nice. Probably discuss some of the other first round games. We're on twice a week, Mondays and Fridays. December 30th, we're having a baseball specific kickoff to get ready for college baseball that starts in February. We've already got a Division I baseball player, Connor from MTSU, as a center fielder, a freshman. We've also got a JUCO coach coming on to talk about how the Diego Pavia ruling is going to affect college baseball. So we're on twice a week, Mondays and Fridays at 8:30 p.m. Central Time.
Hey, real quick, share that because it came out before the show. share the ruling that came out that actually allowed Pavia to have extra years.
So he filed a lawsuit against the NCAA, asking for an extra year of eligibility. And the basis of the lawsuit was JUCO players are not allowed to collect NIL money. So if you go the JUCO route, that's 2 years that you can't collect money. But then the NCAA is punishing you by holding those 2 years over your head in eligibility. So he challenged the rule on that, saying you can't tell me I can't make money for 2 years and then hold it over my head.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's absolutely right. I was shocked that they gave him the extra year. I thought it was going to come down that, okay, NCAA, you can't tell JUCO players they can't make money. I thought that's how it was going to come down, but it didn't.
This is the easier route.
This is the easier route. We're not going to count those years against you. To keep it competitive at the JUCO level, you still don't get money. You still don't get scholarships, but we're not going to hold that over your head later on.
Hey, shout out to him. I like that ruling came out, because now we get to see guys like Pavia, guys that go from the JUCO and up, and they can continue to play. And I'm all for it. I love that. Anthony Handy
Yes,
and
sir.
Colin P. What you guys this week in Georgia football? What you guys got going on? Are you guys going on later or not?
We kind of two birds, one stoned it tonight. Us being on here. But what we're going to do is after tonight's game, we are going to it probably won't be until Monday because my brother's in town tomorrow coming to visit. Been a minute since I've seen him, but we're going to do probably come Monday. We'll do a review of who won. We'll do a review of that game and how we're working up towards that game, what the game plan should be working up towards that game. But we are on Monday evenings. We'd like to come on at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern, but it generally depends on what time I get home from work. We try and be on by at least no later than 8 Eastern if we can help it. But we're on Monday nights, and we would love to have any of you three gentlemen on if you got some time to come on and drop your 2 cents. And then, of course, after we log off, Colin and I both head right over to the Golden Boot podcast and start lighting up the comment section.
They do.
Absolutely. And I too will definitely be getting in those comments after I do Washington football roundtable. Myself, Anton Benton, Alex Stevens will be talking about the Saints game. We'll be talking about some Marshawn Lattimore and looking ahead to the final 3 games of the season. Can Washington make the playoffs? And, what does that mean for the team? My guy, Alex, restoring the roar. Are you bringing it back in your playoff run, or?
I got to figure some stuff out because working night shift, it's been a little difficult to do shows. Maybe over the holiday here, get a couple extra shows going, maybe start that up, get it ready for playoffs. See what I can get going here.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Could Alex have a college national championship and then a Super Bowl champion the following year?
That might be
it. We got to see if we can field a freaking defense first. 16 defensive players on injured reserve right now.
That's crazy. That is crazy. Well, look, we'll see what's going to happen. Hey, let's talk football. We got a bunch of stuff coming. We will be back in the next coming week. Obviously, let's talk football. The roundtable. Actually, no. Let's talk football. The roundtable, Washington Football Weekly, and the Lady Show will all be off next week because of Christmas. I can't believe Christmas is literally like 5 days away.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. So we will all be off. So this is going to be our last show. We'll Alex and I will be talking some college football in due time, probably around this time next week. But for now, we just want to say, hey, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, however you celebrate, Happy Holidays. We hope you are able to get with your family, and even if you can't, just take a little time to relax, rest, and join your friends, have a conversation, because I'm gonna tell you, this was a good time. This was fun, and I'm so glad we all were able to get together. Like Chris, finally. I know we've been asking you for a while, so I'm glad we were able to get together.
Oh, definitely. And for Sean, Alex, Colin, and the Reverend Red and Black, I want to extend my happy holidays to all of you, and hopefully come in January. We'll do this again when we get ready for the college football playoffs.
sir.
I'd love to come on.
Yes, sir.
That'll be a fun time.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
oh absolutely. And Alex and I we're probably gonna be trying to do some in the off season because I want to document every game of the Vandy National Championship run. I called it since Clark
We're
Lee
coming.
said in a couple
You
years
did.
we're gonna be a daddy. I'm telling you, I'm on board with you, man. I need to give me I'm gonna give me a Diego Pavia jersey. That's it.
There you go. I
I'm
was just
going,
gonna say.
I'm going to say this publicly and for record. Matter of fact, let me move my name. I'm gonna move up here so y'all can see me, so I can't be hiding my face behind my name. I'm going to say this publicly and for record. Vanderbilt is the only team in the SEC that I would not have a problem winning the SEC championship and a national championship over Georgia. The one, the only. That's it. That's all. Period. Full stop.
Oof.
And I love you for that love. But let me say, in Diego Pavia's media availability on Tuesday for the Birmingham Bowl, he stated, and I quote, "If I get my extra year and I'm back in Nashville next year, national championship."
There it is.
Oh, all
Drop the
right.
mic on that one. Let's go. Hey, look, we're heading out of here. There's a game going on, and our guy EK Holiday is excited. They're up 14-0. Notre Dame is showing up ready for the fight this game. We'll see if that holds off. For our guy Vandy Chris down here, for the host of This Week in Georgia Football, Colin P. and Anthony, for me and my guy Alex Loosemore, we appreciate your time. We appreciate you talking a little college football. Stay tuned to the games and all this good stuff. We're almost to the end, but we're at the best part. So, hey, let's get it going. We're out of here, people. Stay tuned to the Golden Boot podcast coming in about 45 minutes, a little bit, or an hour, and all the other stuff we got going. Peace, people. Take care.
College Football Update with your host, Sean Spencer